What's up, y'all? Are you able to allow truth to possess you rather than believing that it is your possession? Anosognosia is a condition in which a person who suffers from a disability seems unaware of their own disability. Unlike denial, which would be maybe a psychological defense mechanism, anosognosia is actually it has its roots in a physiological brain damage, maybe of the frontal lobe from a disease or some kind of a condition. This is an actual medical condition in which someone is unaware of their own disability. It's also analogous to the foolishness of so many of us. I'm constantly having my shortcomings unveiled and having to face my own weaknesses, and I'm always a little let down with myself, like I thought that I was better than that, or like I thought I was perfect or something. I've had this experience enough that I've had to embrace that I am unaware of so much that is true about me. It's a strange thing to be unaware of a disability because it's a thing that disables you, right? That kind of unawareness is a sign of brain damage, and yet we also are so often unaware of what we don't know. And I also know that what I don't know, despite all the cliches, can actually hurt me, and it can hurt others as well. It's like your boy Rumsfeld said.
There are known knowns. There are things we know we know. We also know there are known unknowns. That is to say, we know there are some things we do not know. But there are also unknown unknowns. The ones we don't know, we don't know.
What?
We are unaware of so much. The least we could do is try to become more aware of unknowns. Making unknown unknowns known unknowns and known unknowns known.
So you understand the words I'm saying to you?
Yeah.
Well, what I'm saying is that there are known knowns and that there are known unknowns, but there's also unknown unknowns. Things we don't know that we don't know.
What?
Say what again? Say what again? I dare you. I double dare.
What?
Excuse me, but is this an unknown unknown?
I'm not.
Several unknowns, and I'm just wondering if this is an unknown
I'm not going to
unknown.
say which it is.
What?
In the last days of Socrates, Socrates is told by the oracle at Delphi that he is the wisest of all men in Athens, and he thinks this can't be true. So he sets out on a journey to try to ask questions and find wise people all over the place, to interview them, to talk to them, to find someone who is wiser than himself. He finds many people that claim to be wise, many who are very smart too. But the trouble with these people is that they are blind to their own foolishness and to their own limitations, to the fields that they do not know. They don't know what they don't know, and they can't acknowledge their own ignorance. So after a long search, Socrates finally concludes, actually, maybe I am the wisest man in all of Athens, but the only reason for that is that I know I'm an idiot. I know that I'm foolish, and I'm aware of my own ignorance, and perhaps that's the reason that I'm wise? See, our greatest weakness can be thinking that we have arrived. It is a kiss of death. We must always be learning, never think that we got it, and when we think we got it, we don't. There's no way that any of us know everything. We know what we know, but more importantly, we need to know that there is so much that we do not know. Are we unable to have some uncertainty about ourselves, about our knowledge, about our beliefs and our faith? Is there any wisdom at all about the ways that we're so sure of our faith? Would a healthy dose of agnosticism do us a little good? Can we acknowledge the fact that none of us actually know with any degree of certainty the answers to our deepest and most profound questions of ultimate concern? We know that we don't know. So this acknowledgement may be a kind of source of anxiety for us, but it could also be a source of wonder. It's appropriate that we allow our faith to be dynamic and encompass all of who we are, including our doubt. Our doubt isn't in opposition to our faith, it is an element of our faith. Because faith is so much more than intellectual assent, and our doubts are part of a dynamic life of faith. A little agnosticism may serve us well. Agnosticism means not knowing. We get our word for knowledge from the Greek word gnosis, which means to know. There was an entire heretical sect known as the Gnostics that believed they had a kind of secret knowledge which liberated them. The word a that comes before Gnostic and agnostic is a negation, so to not know. Just as a before theist or theism. So if theism is to one who believes in God, atheism is one that does not believe in God. The A is a negation. And I think it's important to point out that atheism is a position that says there is no God, just as theism is a position that says that posits that there is a God. Agnosticism, on the other hand, just acknowledges not knowing. It's quite a different thing than the position to say that there is no God or that there is a God. It's a position that says, ultimately, I don't know. And for the atheist or the theist, a little agnosticism may be a helpful thing, because you don't know.
The absence of evidence is not the evidence of absence.
What?
Simply because you don't have evidence that something does exist does not mean that you have evidence that something doesn't exist.
What?
What country you from?
What?
What ain't no country I ever heard of. They speak English in what?
What?
As a Christian, I believe that the world was created.
What?
I believe that Jesus is the image of the invisible God.
What?
I believe that in Him and in His resurrection we have a possibility of wholeness and restoration.
What?
These are not facts that I know, these are truths that I live by. I also have my own subjective experience of the reality of God in my life. What I do not have is knowledge in any empirical sense.
What?
It seems to me that there is a healthy and wise agnosticism. We can acknowledge that we don't know and therefore be more open to learn and dialogue and explore with one another. It leaves us with an appropriate sense of wonder about the world and reality. I've seen so many debates and arguments. They just seem to hurt and divide people, where just a little less dogmatism would have made it more possible to live and work and explore and learn together. I actually do think there's truth, and I'm not just echoing some postmodern relativist position. I think philosophy is important. I think theology is important. But what I also think is important in our pursuit of truth and my pursuit of Jesus is a little humility. It's important that we remain humble. I can't even tell you how many times that I have become convinced that I was wrong, that I have been wrong. How many times have you realized that you have been wrong? It's not even surprising anymore. Are you able to allow truth to possess you rather than believing it is your possession? Are you able to think to yourself, man, I may be way off here. In fact, I probably am. I have been many times before. Hasn't your own experience demonstrated that reality to you? There's real wisdom in the recognition of our own foolishness. And there's real foolishness in thinking that we already know.
What?
Say what again? Say what again? I dare you. I double dare you.